Hey everyone, and welcome back. It's Gina from orchidandopal.com, and I am back today with the double hot and trendy beads of the month club, along with the crystals and the findings companion packs, which are additional add-ons that are optional. And as many of you know, if you've been around a while, the double hot and trendy club that I received, it's part of the rotation that I'm on. Anyone can join, where you get a different type of beads every month and pretty much get to rotate around all their different subscription options. And they have a total of 6. I will leave their website address right down below the video. That way you can go to their website and find out all the specifics you need to know about signing up and pricing and all of those things. But this hot and trendy club, basically, if you're interested in working with all different types of beads, whether they're single hole or multi-hole, and you like bead weaving, or maybe you like multimedia projects or embroidery, these packages I think are great for those purposes because of the variety of things that you'll get and the surprise factor. You're not going to quite know what's going to show up on a monthly basis, but everything is very high quality, mainly check glass beads, and it could stretch you outside of your comfort zone a little bit, which is a great thing, I think, to do once in a while to learn something new and become inspired. If you're interested in signing up to Beads of the Month Club, you can use the coupon code OPAL10, OPAL10. That will save you 10% off the first month of your first club if you're a new subscriber. So be sure to use that code. That'll be listed down below as well. You can also find out about the 2 different size options they have. And again, this is the double, so you're going to receive twice the quantities of beads in this one as you would in their single size club. And they're both priced accordingly. So in other words, if you got the single, you'd still get 8 containers, just half the quantities of the beads that are located inside. Let's switch it up today and get into the beads first, and then we'll take a look at those optional companion packs. We've got a theme called Peachy Keen, so I think you can gather what color palette that might entail, and we'll flip this over in just a moment. But here on the front, you can see the list of all 8 of the different varieties of beads that are in this package. And there's a bit of a savings over retail cost if you pick up the subscription. And let's take a little look here. Gorgeous. So you've got our 8 reusable containers with the flip tops. And as suspected, we have some peach. There's also a bit of green, some of that beautiful white with the luster. And I'm seeing some backlit beads here with our metallic, a little bit more green. We'll look at all of these beads, though, close up in detail in just a moment. So let me get organized and I'll be right back. And first on our list, we have 30 pieces of the Peridot Trillium flowers. And each of these little codes here corresponds to the code that is on the list if you are newer to the beads and wondering what's what. But let's take a look at these. This variety usually reminds me of the shape of pansies, something about those larger rounded petals. But as you can see, these are a 3-sided floral shape, lots of transparency with that fresh spring green. The hole there going through the center of the bead. So when these are strung on, you'll get the full face of the flower in view. And this is just a part of those 30 pieces. And again, that's with the double size club. So we have a generous quantity to work with and a really unique shape. This isn't something that you'll get every single month, but once in a while you'll see in the Hot and Trendy Club, these trillium flowers pop up, but there's so many different types of check glass beads. This is just one of many. And in addition to that, the themes and color schemes change on a monthly basis. And you may have received this particular club if you're on the same rotation as I am. Otherwise, you may have received another one of their beautiful color palettes, or will if you sign up in the future. This is just a really good example of one of the themes they've put together to give you an idea of what to expect if you are a subscriber. In our second container, we have 24 pieces of the opaque peach coral drop beads. And this is the main pop of peach color in the Peachy Keen theme. I also like the fact that these are nice and opaque and rounded. These are also a substantial shape, so being that they are this color, If you really wanted to play up that peachy theme, these could allow you to do that. Just imagine adding in some leafy green beads or something to that effect. Otherwise, they're just a gorgeous all around color that can blend with lots of different things, not just the beads here in this palette, but they could be combined in all sorts of ways. And here is container number 3. It's packed full of a total of 50 of the Luster Peridot side drilled teardrops. These are really stunning, and they've got a pearlescent shine with just a hint of transparency, letting a little light shine through. It's a really cool effect. And with these teardrops, like it said, as you can see too, the hole is located there at the top, so the thread just passes right through there and they would hang down. These being shaped a little bit different in terms of the hole location compared to those peach beads. These are also just a bit smaller. And again, just part of those in my hand. The rest of them I've already put in the container. So for example, even if you signed up for the single size club, you still get a lot to work with. Container number 4 is holding 20 pieces of the Crystal Full AB Matte Trumpet Flowers. I really like this addition of the white, and in this case, the crystal with the matte. Such a refreshing palette and keeps it light and airy. And here are the flowers up close. You can see just a little bit of the Aurora Borealis finish popping up on parts of the 3-petal shape, and this time being a much different shape than the first flower, the trilliums that we looked at. This style, just like we expect in the Czech glass, has the details that really bring out certain areas. You can see the little grooves there on the side. And that whole placement is going up and down through the center, so that provides additional variety to the contents in that regard too. And with our 5th container, we're bringing in a little bit of this backlit peach variety, or there's 2 different types. This first one, these are the backlit peach dagger beads. They're the one hole style, and they have a much different appearance from the front compared to the back. So technically that makes these beads reversible. You could feature the shiny silver color if you wanted those to stand out. You could even mix them together, having some facing in one direction and some facing the other. That would be pretty cool. And as you can see, there's also that backlit peach, which I thought at first was like a light gold, but that peach actually is another gorgeous accent to our palette, not only color-wise, but I just love the reflective quality of those backlit beads. That silver metallic shines through from the other side, and they pick up the light so beautifully. So this is another example of a one-hole Czech glass bead that you may see pop up in the Hot and Trendy Club. And they're another one of those elongated shapes that you could use to hang down, similar to a drop style bead. And then in container 6, here is our other backlit peach variety. These are in the flat teardrops. There's a total of 30 in this container. There were 50 of those daggers, if I hadn't mentioned that already. And you can see how these are similar, just in that shorter and wider shape this time. So here are some of those, and they have a little bit of a larger surface area where you can see the peach backlit side that's so reflective and shiny, and the back, which is completely coated in that opaque silver. And another example of a drop style bead, this time in a flat shape with that hole going through the top. And something you can consider if you wanted to sign up for the Hot and Trendy Club is you will likely get a number of the drop style shapes. There's lots of those in the form of Czech glass too, so things like that will pop up. And this shape lays really nicely if you use them as a drop style in a necklace. Just picture those laying down at the very front. That's one of my favorite ways to use this shape. In container 7, we have another one-hole bead, this time in the Peridot AB colored matte tri beads. There's 12 grams included. And it looks like these are our smallest bead variety this time. And these little triangular slices with the hole that runs right through the center. I love the combination. They look like they're glowing with the AB coating on one side, the other side left without that. And I like how it gives the variety some extra interest, especially if they are turned in different directions. You get a hint of the AB glow or the opposite side, which is that frosty light peridot green. And these are one of those shapes you can use them similar to how you would any other spacer bead because they're small and sort of thinly sliced. And by doing that, they'd add a little bit of texture if you consider the points that they have on three sides. These are also really nice for layering in embroidery projects. Think about layering some of these smaller beads on top of something larger. And sometimes in specific bead weaving projects, you might find this shape pop up, which makes this a great time for me to mention that if you are a bead subscriber to one of their Beads of the Month clubs, you will get a brand new link that's printed at the bottom of your paper invoice in your monthly package. And if you just type that into your web browser, it'll bring you to 3 new printable or downloadable beading patterns that often use some of these more unique shapes. So be sure to do that before you throw that paperwork away. That way you can add some new patterns to your library or digital file. And then the eighth and final container for the Peachy Keen theme is holding 14 grams of the Chalk White Luster Vertical Fixer beads. These are definitely one of those very unique and different shapes and styles with 4 holes this time, and it rounds out the palette with some additional opaque white. So it's a great example of one of those really unique shapes if you're trying to have a little more fun with some of the check glass in your bead weaving project specifically. Maybe jump in and give these a try. They are equipped with these little grooves back here on one side. And from what I remember reading initially about these fixer beads, is they have that groove to allow for a cabochon or something to be held in place. If you think of these beads kind of surrounding a cabochon and then the cabochon fitting in that groove, the whole location there would go along the top and the bottom of the cabochon. So a number of different ways you could incorporate these. That just happens to be one way. And you'll have to wait and see if these make an appearance in the tutorial that I'm going to do this month. I'll be putting together a project based on some of the beads that you see here in the Peachy Keen theme. That way we can make something together. You can see some of these beads in use. So I can't wait to see what comes out of these. I know it's going to be something fun and different, and I can't wait to bring that to you. So that said, make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and that way you'll be notified when that video comes out later this month. And we'll take a look at the additional 2 companion packs that I received. But this does it for the Beading Club itself. It's a great example of what you might receive on a monthly basis. The palette will be something completely different the next month, and the shapes will vary monthly too. So very inspiring, very summery. And now I'll pull out those companion packs. We'll get started with our findings assortment. Looks like I received the gunmetal plating style this time around. That also changes every month. So if you subscribe to this, you won't be paying any additional shipping. If you are a Bead Club subscriber, you do need to be one to opt into these companion packs, but no additional shipping cost. They color coordinate the findings. They may not necessarily be ones you want to use with your beads that month, but they're awesome to have in your stash and chock full of really high quality findings and unique items, things you may not already have, and some fun twists on basics. And to start out, this is a great example. This is a 6.1 millimeter cable chain, and there's a total of 16 inches in this length. What I like here is it's not the smaller, more dainty cable chain that we see pop up in subscriptions more often. This time it's a chunkier style that may add some variety to your stash. Also with those big wide lengths, you can use those to add beaded loops or clusters of other beaded components, and maybe use something like this in an entirely different crafting end result rather than jewelry. Chain also can look pretty interesting when you combine different sizes and shapes in the same color tone of metal. That could be a cool option if you have something larger like this to play around with. And also, it does look like they have the open link style. So technically, you could use a pair of pliers and open up those links and use these optionally as larger jump rings in a project. Next is this two-hole butterfly charm with crystals covered all over the top of the sides, really pretty, with a loop on one side, one on the opposite wing there. And flipping that over, you can see it doesn't have the crystals on the other side, but it does feel very well made and substantial. And it looks like all of those little sparkly crystals are intact. Next up, we have another unique item. These are a set of four of the two strand end caps. And if you look in there, it's got the position for a couple of beads to fit in there. It looks like maybe like around a size 8-0, maybe even some cup chain. And you can clamp these directly to those strands, securing them in place and finish off your beadwork beautifully with something like this. So they are solid on the front and the back, and they just have that loop in that one location on the end for further attaching to a clasp. Up next, we have the two strand filigree oval tab clasp. So that could be used very nicely with some of those end caps that we just saw if you wanted to. That clasp having a lot more detail with the filigree design. And it's one of those pinch clasps. So you just pinch that apart to open that up. It's got the two loops on either side for attaching directly something in a two strand variety. And then next we have this really unique V-shaped connector with the additional loops. There's 7 loops that go all around that bottom location, even some openings there inside of that. So one of those pieces you could get very creative with. There's a look at the back. As you can see, it's not double-sided, but again, thick and substantial. Feels like it will hold up to the projects nicely. And it's really kind of cool because your thread or wire or whatever you happen to be using to connect this can travel down those two holes on either side, around the bottom of that V, back up, and it hides it in that manner, bringing your piece to this great looking point, which kind of acts like its own veil in a way. That brings us to our next two items. There is a pair or set of two of the flower slash star cutout fishhook ear wires that include the backs as well, those little stoppers. But if you look at the front, you can see how it's got that small cutout flower or star shaped detail, which is very sweet. Also has a loop back there for attaching directly to your beadwork. And we have this really unique class, which is a lobster style with the very unique bird shape. And that bird shows up on both sides, all those details. And you use that little tail back there to pinch and open up that clasp. That's really pretty cool. Also, the size of this, I think, could work very well with the larger size of chain that we received this month. And you notice there is a slight gap there in the clasp, but would be totally fine with those larger oval links if you were to combine those pieces. That brings us to our final two items in the Findings Companion Pack. We've got 20 of the 6 by 4 millimeter 20 gauge oval jump rings, and there's a total of 8 2-inch 22 gauge paddle pins that more artisan like take on some head pins for making some beaded charms or using those in earring components. And then my favorite oval style, more secure and higher quality jump rings, all coordinating together in the gunmetal tone. So it's like an instant findings stash builder, and you're able to get things that coordinate together that you can use in combination, which is great, especially if you don't already have finishes that are a little bit different, like the gunmetal. Maybe you just have plain old gold and silver. these packages, you get a number of things, and even your basics like your jump rings or head pins, they've got you covered this time. Of course, every month you're going to receive different styles of findings too, not just these in all different sorts of colors, but the various shapes and designs are going to be different also each time you receive your package. All right, and then to wrap it up, I've got that Crystals Companion Pack to open up, and this is one that is going to contain approximately 3 different types of crystal accents and beads every month in its own coordinating palette. And these are either going to be actual Swarovski crystal brands, or they're going to be of a quality that matches that. So it looks like our first 2 are going to be genuine Swarovski. We'll do a little flip over of our gorgeous blue, and I'm seeing some silver there. And this is another pack that does not cost any additional amount to ship, so you just pay the actual fee for the companion pack itself. I believe this one and the findings are still both $12.95 with an existing bead subscription. So let's open this up and take a look at that very first item. It's going to be a coral sprig pendant, which looked really interesting. Wow, that is a stunner. Very substantial Swarovski piece, and one of those pendants that you could pretty much design something around, leaving it as simple as it is or incorporating that into some beadwork, even making a special beaded bail or bead cap to go on one side if you wanted to. And it's just got a hint of a light grayish silver and luster coating over the top. Very transparent though, lets a lot of light through, and one of those items that would go with all sorts of different color palettes, not just the blue. And in our second bag, that one was containing 16 pieces of the Indicolite rounds. It's like a deeper capri blue, and these are the antique rounds, so they're just slightly elongated. They remind me a little bit of the Czech fire polish rounds, still having all that precisely cut faceting, but smoothed out edges nonetheless, and very smoothly drilled hole locations. Classic sparkly Swarovski. And the third and final item in our crystals pack, we have the cool blue bicones in the 4mm size. This is like a medium sapphire blue, like we usually see in Czech glass. And the quality of these appear to be excellent too. Beautifully faceted and cut, smooth holes, and that clarity and sparkle that we love so much. And just like their other clubs and packs, that just gives you an example of some of the shapes that you might receive. And just like that, usually get some type of a focal or a pendant, a larger, more substantial piece, and a couple of other crystal shapes and sizes that can be used in conjunction with those as smaller supporting items. So that wraps it up for what I received for June 2024. And I hope you enjoyed checking these beads and findings and crystals out with me. I love having you here. So thank you so much for joining me. Be sure you check their website, which is located right down below the video, because there's lots of information available there about more of these specifics, things you may receive in each of the different types of clubs. And they'll also go over their additional offerings that you didn't see specifically today. If you're interested in signing up to Beads of the Month Club, you can use the coupon code OPAL10, OPAL10. That will save you 10% off the first month of your first club if you're a new subscriber. So be sure to use that code. That'll be listed down below as well. And feel free to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of these varieties. Maybe if you have any ideas that have popped up in your head as you were watching, feel free to share that down below. Also, stay tuned to that tutorial project to come later on this month. And go ahead and give the video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. That's all I have for this time, though. I highly recommend the Beads of the Month clubs, and you can find lots more unboxings just like this one in the playlist that I have set up. You can find that located in the corner of the video. That's all for now, though. Until next time, I will see you all again real soon. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day, and as always, happy beading.